Today we learn about the coffee rust. Out of the many diseases of the coffee rust is considered as one of the most economically important throughout the world wherever this crop is growing. And in monetary value, coffee is the most important agricultural product in the international trade. Out of the different coffee growing country, Brazil is considered as the leading producer of coffee. And if we see this graph, in India, the coffee production trend is increasing very sharply from 2019-20 to 2023-24. So the disease that is called coffee rust, it is caused by Hamelia obstructrix as well as Hamelia coffeacala. And it is, but out of these two, most common is Hamelia obstructrix. But on the other hand, Hamelia coffeacola, it is restricted to the Central and Western Africa, especially in the higher as well as cooler region. And this pathogen, their main host is Coffea arabica, that is called your Arabica coffee, as well as Coffea canephora, which is commonly known as Robusta coffee. And these are the two most important commercial coffee species, and perhaps as many as 25 other species of the coffee. The existence of an alternate host has been postulated, but none have been found till to date. But the disease, first described as the coffee leaf disease by an English explorer during 1861, especially in the Lake Victoria region of the East Africa. And the disease was then reported by another scientist, Reverend H.J. Berkeley, as well as his assistant, Mr. Brome, during 1869 in Gardener Chronicle. The pathogen that causes the coffee rust, it belongs to the domain Eukaryota, kingdom fungi, division Basidiomycota, class Puccineomycetes, order Puccineals, and family Jagonosi, and genus is Hamelia, and species Hamelia bastardrix. The pathogen, they prefer a wide range of temperature, that is a minimum of 15 degrees centigrade with optimum of 22 degrees centigrade, and they prefer a maximum temperature of 28 degree centigrade. And the disease that is called your coffee rust can cause an yield losses in excess of near about 75%, where outbreak are severe. This has been reported during 2016. And this disease, it causes the loss of the foliage by up to 100%, and it may cause the loss of berries by up to a 70%. It produces different type of symptom. First of all, it produces light yellow spots on the top of the leaves, and which are small in diameter. The spots then will slowly increases in size and masses. Thereafter, with the passage of the time, the spots turn orange and begin to appear on the underside of the leaves. Hemilia obstructrix, it sporulates through the stomata rather than the epidermis like other rust do. The spots center slowly dries up in the latter part of the infection, and it turns from yellow to brown in color. As the rust begins to grow, they keep produce iridospores and expands. The life cycle of coffee rust, it starts with the iridospores from an infected leaf, landing on a healthy one and germinating, and which can take at least 4 to 7 weeks to complete. And the causal agent, that is called fungus, it enters through natural leaf openings, it invades cells and produces more spores. And these new spores are then dispersed by rain, wind, and animal to infect other plant, causing an exponential increase in infection over multiple generations. And as I said, that microscopic iridospores that land on a coffee leaf and it germinate, forming an infection structure that enter the leaf through stomata, that is called your natural opening, which are having some small pores. And then the fungus colonizes the leaves interior and eventually emerges through the stomata to form a sorus, which contain a new spores. Then the new iridospores are released from the sorus and are dispersed by rain, wind, animals, and people to infect other plant. The cycle from a single initial spores to new crop of spores can take 4 to 7 weeks. The single infection can generate a large number of new spores. One lesion can produce 4 to 6 spores crops over several months. A single initial spore can lead to the production of tens of thousands of spores through 4 to 6 generation. And the primary mode of reproduction of this fungus is asexual, that is through the iridospores. The sexual stage involving basidiospores has not been fully identified, and the fungus may be autoecious, meaning it can complete its life cycle on a single host without an alternate host. And researchers have also proposed that the sexual stage might be completed by the iridospores, which would act as a functional teleospores. In this picture, I want to show that because the infection of this pathogen, that is Hamelia vastaxis, there may be defoliation in the coffee plantation. And secondly, so the here in B, the leaf symptom that produces on the abaxial surface. In the C, here detail of suprastomatal iridionial pustules coalescing over the lower leaf surface. And in case of photograph D, these are the that means photograph of your iridinium showing arrangement of the spores. And lastly, in case of E, here iridinospores showing the thickened, heavily ornamented or verrucous upper wall containing carotenoid lipid guttles imparting the yellow-orange colors. Regarding the survival spread and sporulation, I want to say the pathogens survive primarily as mycelium in the living tissues of the host, that is on the infected host. Then the green leaves of the infected plant always persist through the dry season, and the dry iridospore can survive about 6 weeks. So there is always some viable inoculum to infect the newly formed leaves at the start of the next rainy season. And regarding dispersal, I want to say the iridinospores can be dispersed by both wind and rain, especially rain splash. And then the long range dispersal is primarily occurred by the wind. A small, perhaps your epidemiologically insignificant amount of iridinospores dispersal is by the insect like thrips, flies, then wasp and other insects. And the organism, it takes around 10 to 14 days from infection for new iridinia to develop and iridiospore to be formed. And the rust lesion, it continues to enlarge over a period of 2 to 3 weeks. A single lesion will produce 4 to 6 crops of spores, releasing about more than 3 lakhs iridinospores over a period of 3 to 5 months. The secondary cycle of the infection occur continuously during favorable weather, and the potential for explosive epidemic is enormous. Regarding management, for the management of coffee rust, we have to adopt some integrated management approaches. Out of that, the cultural practice is very important. So here, the pruning should be done after the harvest and before the blossom showers under dry conditions. It helps to reduce the initial inoculum of the coffee rust pathogens. We should try for increased planting space. That means the density should be a little bit more. Then we have to apply balance amount of your fertilizer and maintain optimum shade for entire plantation area. Regarding biological practices, Verticillium hamilei is known to cover the rust iodospores and lesion with white mycelial mass, and it has been considered as one of the potential biological practices. There are some resistant variety like SLN 5B, SLN 6, SLN 9, Kaveri, and Chandragiri. This can be utilized in coffee rust infected area. Regarding chemical management, I want to say that out of the different chemical practices which has been tried till to date, the copper based fungicide like Bordeaux mixture at the rate of 0.5% with proper coverage on the undersurface of the foliage before the onset of southwest monsoon, and is found to be very effective. Beside that, we can recommend the spray of Tridor Mephon at the rate of 80 per 100 liter to highly susceptible population of Arabica cultivar during the break in monsoon. So